Bond of Love.
Chapter 3. David Moves In. Before we begin, you have read short stories and chapters in your books as well as magazines or comics. Novel is a very long piece of writing that has many characters, scenes and plots. Some novels convey the whole life events of its main characters. The story you will read now has been taken from a novel written by a very famous English writer. Let's read and explore. David Copperfield is the story of a poor young boy and how he grows into a man, overcoming various difficulties and facing many challenges.
In this part from the story, David visits the family home of his nurse,
Peggotty, in Yarmouth, a coastal town in England. Ham carried me on his back and a small box of ours under his arm. Peggotty carried another small box of ours. We went past boat builders' yards, shipwrights' yards, shipbreakers' yards, smiths, forges, and a great litter of such places, until we came out upon the dull waste I had already seen at a distance, when Ham said, "Yon's our house, Mazer's Davy." I looked in all directions. As far as I could stare over the wilderness and away at the sea and away at the river, but no house could I make out. There was a black barge
or some other kind of boat not far off,
high and dry on the ground, with an iron funnel sticking out of it for a chimney and smoking very cosily. But nothing else in the way of a habitation that was visible to me. "That's not it," said I. "That ship-looking thing." "That's it, Mazer's Davy," returned Ham.
If it had been Aladdin's palace,
I suppose I could not have been more charmed with the idea of living in it. There was a beautiful door cut in the side, and it was roofed in, and there were little windows in it. The wonderful charm of it was that it was a real boat, which had no doubt been upon the water hundreds of times, and which had never been intended to be lived in on dry land.
it was beautifully clean inside and as tidy as possible.
There was a table and a Dutch clock and a chest of drawers, and on the chest of drawers there was a tea tray. The tray was kept from tumbling by a Bible, and the tray, if it had tumbled down, would have smashed a quantity of cups
And saucers and a teapot that were grouped around the book.
On the walls there were some framed colored pictures. All this I saw in the first glance after I crossed to the threshold,
And then Peggotty opened a little door and showed me my bedroom.
it was the complete and most desirable bedroom ever seen,
In the stern of the vessel with a little window.
where the rudder used to go through, a little looking glass just the right height for me, nailed against the wall, and framed with oyster shells, a little bed, which there was just room enough to get into, and a nosegay of seaweed in a blue mug on the table. The walls were whitewashed as white as milk, and the patchwork counterpane made my eyes quite ache with its brightness. One thing I particularly noticed in this delightful house was the smell of fish. When I took out my pocket handkerchief to wipe my nose, I found it smelled exactly as if it had wrapped up a lobster.
Peggotty informed me that her brothers sold lobsters.
Crabs and crawfish. I afterwards found that a heap of these creatures
Were kept in a little wooden outhouse with the pots and kettles.
We were welcomed by a woman in a white apron and a most beautiful little girl, or I thought her so, with a necklace of blue beads on. By and by, when we had dined in a sumptuous manner, a hairy man with a very good-natured face came home. As he called Peggotty Lass, and gave her a hearty smack on the cheek. I had no doubt that he was her brother, and so he turned out being presently introduced to me as Mr. Peggotty. "Glad to see you, sir," said Mr. Peggotty. "You will find us rough, sir, but you'll find us ready." I thanked him and replied that I was sure
I should be happy in such a delightful place.